So, okay, let's get started. Halo Infinite, Inside Infinite for March 2021. Now, for the people who are going to watch this on YouTube, I will say this is potentially, I think it's a very important one. I think if you're a hardcore gamer, these are kind of the ones you should pay the most attention to. But when I say hardcore, I mean like competitive gamer. But this is one of those blog posts that might not be as interesting. I think it is a very interesting thing, but I think there's a lot of people who this talks about more the stuff that people are kind of like, they don't really care to know about or know about when it comes to game development. If you like to know how a game is being developed and stuff like that, this will be amazing. So now the reason why I say that is this will specifically be talking about the audio team for 343. So if you're someone who doesn't really care about, soundtracks and game audio and things like that, maybe this one's not so much for you. I think this will be a little more lackluster. I skimmed. I didn't read anything. I kind of just looked at the pictures to see what's going on. We don't really get any other than like this one right here. We don't get any new real screenshots. I think there might be one or two of them, but there's no new screenshots. Nothing else really new that that's super like visuals and stuff like that you can see. So this will be a lot more auditory. So maybe your thing might not be. We'll see. Anyways, though, let's as I said, like every blog post, we're just gonna go down pretty much through the entire thing, step by step. We're just gonna read it through like this is my first time reading it. So, which it is. And it would be your first time if you read it yourself, whatever. But anyways, welcome back to Inside Infinite, monthly blog series, which, by the way, this is around the time. So they have said they're trying to stick to the last Thursday of every month. That is kind of what they're sticking to. So that's what we're getting right now. In-depth components of Infinite. In this installment, we've asked the 343 audio team to bring you closer to the process than ever before. Now, I mentioned it to my stream. Once again, I am streaming this, but sorry, I've been a little under the weather. Don't worry, it's not bad. I got checked. We're good. I'll get to it if they talk about it, but there's some things that I feel that I've known about for a few years now. We got brought in a while back to hear some interesting things that they were doing with Infinite's audio, which that was years ago, and I think it's changed drastically since. But we'll see if they talk about any of it here. So, because if they don't, I can't say anything. Ooh, excuse me. If you haven't seen the previous Halo Infinite posts, here's the art and graphics, the sandbox, and the campaign. All these are amazing. All these gave people a little bit of an itch. So as a reminder, if you have any burning questions you want to ask the audio team after this Inside Infinite, just ask Twitter on using Ask343. May get featured in our next community QA video on YouTube. Twitter. Go to Twitter. Literally just put Ask343 and ask them whatever you want. Specifically audio. There's been a few people asking, like, is the plasma pistol sound back? Things like that. I don't know if I have any audio questions. I might after this. So let's go get the audio team. So this is concept for Forerunner art interior. Sick. So what I've been doing, ignore this. You don't need to see that. Oh, actually, I kind of like this. I've been changing my background. Every week we get a new thing. I'll do it anyways. We'll save it. Save it there. We'll show it in folder. And then while we're doing that, we'll set it as my desktop. I'll probably go back to the other one because it's really good. But there you go. I've been changing my background every single time. Gorgeous. Beautiful. This is a Forerunner structure. Now, there's been a lot of speculation with this, that this takes place on the Zeta Halo. So, people talk about those Minecraft pillars. I think that's what everyone just calls them now. Those Minecraft pillars and stuff like that, that it's literally the ring breaking themselves apart. So this takes place on the Zeta ring, is the concept. And that part of what you're seeing, like all this, is actually part of the destruction of what's happening to the ring. So it hasn't just affected the exterior of the ring. It's also infected a lot of the internal structures. So some speculation there. That's kind of the minor things I've heard about. So Audio evolved. Hello, audio team. Welcome to the March edition. Kick things off. Let's introduce. You got Sotaro Tojima. Hello, I'm Sotaro Tojima, audio director for Halo Infinite. I oversee our audio team and all the sounds that help bring the game to life. I began working on Halo back in 2009. That's after Halo 3. That's probably a little bit of ODST, maybe? No, not even, right? Reach. He did pretty much Reach onwards. Probably maybe did a bit for Halo 3. I'm sure, I don't know. Pursuing passion for audio aspects of the franchise ever since. We've been working on Halo Infinite quite a while, and now I'm very excited. Well, that's good. It's good to know that they've been working on Infinite for a little while, Chase Thompson, lead audio technical designer for Infinite. I work on designing our audio tools and systems control on how audio plays back in game. I started at 343 in 2012, working on dialogue in Halo 4. I remember playing countless hours in Battle Creek at LAN parties with their friends in CE. Don't we all? Don't we all have those memories? Become a super Halo fan over the past 8 years, working my dream job. Kyle Frazier, the lead sound designer on Halo Infinite. I helped create and oversee the sound design for the game. I have been at 343 for over 10 years. A lot of veterans here. It's good. He's been here 8 years. He's been here 12 years. 11 years. 12 years. 9 years? I did. Yeah, 9 years. And this person's been around for 10 years, over 10 years. Halo since CE days. Yol Yarger. Yarger? I've butchered that one. I did so well on the other. I was like, am I going to go clean sweep? I don't think I did. Music supervisor for Infinite. Joined 343 at the beginning of 2019. Hey, newbie. Was previously producing music for games at PlayStation. Back in 2001, I picked up Halo and CE. Look at all these CE veterans. We got CE. That's a good sign. They love CE. It's a good sign. In 5 years since, there's no shortage of feedback coming into the studio across the community. Thinking back, what are the key takeaways from the audio team? We started gathering, evaluating after shipping Halo 5. Our entire team went through all the feedback, discussed each item in depth, and set upon defining goals. As we've seen in every single team that they did exactly this. Goals with Infinite, recapturing the legacy essence of Halo. So that's one of the big things. And strengthening the excitement and impact of Halo's combat. Cool. So fights will be really great with audio and apologies. And legacy. Those primary goals established, our team's been passionately working on deliver our vision as our partners, teams around the studio have been bringing Halo Infinite to life. So we saw this. This was from last week or last month. So far we've heard art, graphics, sandbox, and campaign. Goals that drive the work to do. Does audio team have similar high-level pillars that shape the priorities and deliverables? Absolutely. Setting a clear, unified direction across teams is very important to deliver a compelling game experience that's more critical and time-challenging with a large team. And our first kickoff... I have some... Never mind. Never mind. I just remember our art director, Sparth, having the exact same top goal as the audio team, recapturing the original, which was... Sparth is amazing. I have a great photo with him. I don't think I have it on Instagram. I would show it off, but Sparth is a cool dude. He's a wizard. Wizard. Art wizard. The overall idea of returning to the original essence is heavily connected to the overall project vision of Halo Infinite being a spiritual reboot, which you've heard mentioned from the other teams. Strengthening the excitement and impact of Halo's combat that aligns with some of Troy Mashburn was discussing in last month's blog post. The concept of supporting the super soldier vision of the player's experience. It's been exciting so far. Our audio team is committed to delivering 2 key goals to hit the Infinite experience our players wanted. At the highest level, we often refer to Halo Infinite as a spiritual reboot. Can you explain what this means from a music perspective? For me, campaign music perspective. It's all about capturing brighter themes like hope and believe while embracing the mystery and the beauty of the Zeta Halo. Yes. I love the scores of Halo 4 and 5. Got great scores, I won't lie. We tried to incorporate story very carefully, but as a result, tonally, it wasn't as hopeful as prior games. Original games also had a dark elements in the story, and the music largely focused on the brighter side, which worked very well. Yeah, it's true. Like Halo 4 had some amazing sound stuff. I mean, it won a bunch of awards and stuff like that, and Halo 5 did pretty well too. But it was different. It was definitely different from the other Halo games. It wasn't bad by any means. I love the Halo. Again, that entrance on midnight when you're going out to that kind of final section and you're going off the lift. Oh, epic. It's an epic place. Epic score, epic visual. It's awesome. I contemplate why the brighter music fits so well with the darker stories, and it simply boils down to because it's Master Chief. I love. He can do everything because Chief. The Master Chiefs and Halo players have never been overwhelmed by challenging situations. Even facing the potential end of humanity and the end of the universe, there's always a sense of hope, heroism, and confidence. It's true. He's a robot. Chief's a robot. He's gonna beat those aliens to a pulp without even trying. He'll be like, Prophets? Giant grave mine alien flood things that infect everything? When it comes to the music, we believe we should focus on those brighter, positive themes. That's actually cool. I've never really thought about it, but yeah. I'd have to replay the games to really get a sense of that, but I think I understand what he's saying. So, comes to the scores specifically, how do you balance staying true to the past while also pushing to evolve and differentiate? Infinite, I defined our core pillars. One, which was mentioned, was hope. Another falls into ancient mystery sci-fi category. And third, military honor, sense of duty. Military has always been a big theme in Halo. Makes sense. Connecting each of those together are common themes like a sense of wonder as well as heroism. We set out to bring the brightest in tone from earlier Halo scores while continuing to evolve the palette with new voices in the industry, at least to Halo. To honor what has come before while introducing new themes and styles. Of course, this centers around the fact that you are the Master Chief. You are the ultimate super soldier with unfaltering sense of duty while maintaining compassion, blasting alien baddies with this beautiful and even uplifting music soundtrack. Love it. An important aspect we identified for the composers and factored in what we factored into how we selected them was having high level of comfort writing in major keys, not being shy to end with a major chord and inserting one where it would not be expected. The last bit plays into another aspect we were after, but by not always moving to the next expected chord in a given chord progression, but instead surprise me. I love that. I have a thing with that in music. I'm going off here. I have a thing with that with music. If you look at most of my music, a lot of it, and the stuff that really gets to me, that stuff that I'm like listening to and then I hear something like, ooh, yeah, baby, is it just throws something in there. They just like experiment, they throw random sounds in there. I don't know what it is, but it's really pleasing to me to go from like a really constant beat, a patternistic beat, and just throwing things kind of in there. I'm sure I can find some examples if I just went into any of my playlists. It's just lots of noise and just, I don't know. I like it. There's something about it that's very pleasing to me. So, Paul Crocker, our associate creative director, shared early on the entire Infinite team was to take the familiar and flip it to create something surprising, but not wholly unfamiliar. Musically, that made a lot of sense and became one of our guideposts along the way. When pushing things farther and evolving the score, it became a collaborative effort with each of the composers. Wanting to marry the unique pillars of Halo music with the unique voices of each composer was as organic as we could make it. From building our own custom music sample libraries to tapping into years of experience, each composer brought their unique styles, and even in ensembles that are foreign to Halo, we are able to push certain aspects further, while also setting us up for the future development, which is exciting. Ultimate goal with the music has been to say to those people who have never played Halo, welcome. And to those who have played, welcome home. Love it. How was the decision made to partner with the three composers for the soundtrack? Can you speak on some unique challenges and opportunities what comes with working with a trifecta of composers, largely remotely at that? Right. Gotta remember that still. With the scope of Infinite, Name says it all. Being larger than any previous game, we established early on that we would need between 3 to 4 hours of written music. Oh, this only covers the campaign. It does not include our multiplayer experience, which will be fun to discuss more in the future. Oh my god, that's so much. God, people might not understand how crazy that is. I mean, it's not. When it comes to video game music, that's pretty constant. If you go into any, let's just go look up like Halo CE soundtrack really quick. The Halo CE soundtrack is like, each of these are like 3 minutes. We're talking 2 minutes. There's some 8 minutes, 3 minutes. They're all sitting around the 3-minute mark, right? Like most music in general. So imagine how many songs you have to create to get 3 to 4 hours of music. That's insanity. You're talking like 300 plus. The 300 plus, that math is wrong. I lie. It's not 100 out of 100, so that's wrong. But you're talking, it's a lot. It's a lot of music and soundtrack, man. Like, that's crazy. So, yeah, you're talking 120 plus. That math is a little more correct. 120 plus tracks that you're going to have to do, depending on the length of 3-minute average. That's crazy. It's a lot. It's a lot for any composer. Sorry. Past Halo games have relied on duos and even trios of composers to cover various aspects. Narrative. We are very fortunate to have found 3 individuals, each bringing unique talents, perspectives, voices, and especially a passion to Halo and its history. Between Gareth Cockers, Cokers? I think it's Cokers. Mature command of orchestra. Curtis Schweitzer's intimate choral and choral. Man, these are words that I am not used to saying. Piano writing and Joel Korolitz. Mastery of synths and unique sounds. That's my man right there. That's my man. Synths and unique sounds. That's me. I think we have a fantastic composer team that will continue to push Halo into new areas. It's important to know that Gareth Curtis Joel, GCJ, covered many different themes, areas, and styles. We're definitely not limited to what I've just mentioned above. Cool. So they're not limited to any of these. They can make whatever the heck they want. I love it. In terms of being remote, many composers, devs are used to working in separate cities, states, and countries. That's pretty common. It's one of those things, if you guys don't know, a lot of the audio and stuff like that tends to get done. A lot of the audio stuff for Halo, I believe, a lot of it is in studio, but a lot of the voice acting and stuff like that is done in a completely different place. Some of it is in Washington, but some of it is in California. I remember talking about, I've always wanted to meet Nathan Fillion, so I've gone to 343 a few times. I'm just like, what are the chances? What are the chances that he might just show up at some point? Do some voice acting or something. And they're like, not high. It's like, he's visited the studio like twice. To the person I was talking to, he's like, I think he's visited the studio twice since I've been here. So, because all the audio and everything, they have sound recording booths and stuff completely remote. So most of the time that stuff is remote. That's nothing new. Most games do that. In places they literally say LA, Chicago, Colorado. Wasn't a major impact or change. Yeah, because that's pretty common. As I said, most of the voice acting, I believe, for Halo is done in LA. At least it was for Halo 5. So, where do we see unique set of challenges was in producing and recording all the live elements of the remaining 2 hours of our score during a global pandemic. Wow, okay. Remote recording itself isn't new and is common across various scenarios, but this amount of music coupled with completely new, socially distanced, safety-oriented process, schedules, and even seating layouts were all in uncharted territories for everyone. Yeah, because, when you have a giant choir, they have giant orchestras for Halo. They have the Halo Orchestra, and that's, I don't even know. I think it was like 60 people back in the day, and I think it's expanded to like 80 to 120 people or something like that. I don't know. Don't quote me on those. But yeah, you have to separate, and then the music changes according to how far people are separated. That makes sense, man. That's got to be tough. So, All that said, every single person involved in the production of the Infinite score, dude, I can't even imagine the audio team really working together, just putting all that together. That's impressive. Not the more I'm hearing about it, the more I'm being impressed by this. So, for sound design, and the team has made a number of improvements and updates for the soundscape since Halo 5. They're going to talk about what I hope they talk about. Can we talk about the work done to help drive the immersion? Great question. Actually, we made big change to the overall sound effects during the direction of Infinite. With Halo 4 and 5, the approach was on detailed sounds. We tried to deliver as much audio detail as possible, capturing pretty much everything that happened on screen. However, this didn't really work as well as we would have liked. The result was too many sounds constantly playing, which made it more difficult for some of the most important, like enemy fire, explosions, bullet impacts. Fair enough. That's pretty accurate. Typical feedback piece received was, it sounds rich, but I often can't hear enemies fire when they fire at me. Also heard feedback that the AI combat wasn't as fun as players wanted, and it felt that the audio should be a bigger contributor to that. Interesting. I didn't even think about that, but that is not wrong. Yeah, I mean, if you can't really hear the enemies firing at you, that might be portrayed as it's not really challenging, or your brain can portray that as different things, and you might not even realize it's related to audio. There's other reasons too, of course, gameplay-wise and stuff, but it's a good point I never even thought about, I guess. Audio is something that, as much as I do this stuff and as well as I can make things sound good, it's probably the area in the game industry, when it comes to game development, I should say, not game industry. There's a lot I don't know about the game industry, but when it comes to specifically game development, from producing, game programming, art, all that stuff, sound design is probably the thing that I know the least amount about, of how it works on a mechanical level. Like, I know how the programming works, I know how a lot of the design works, and I understand how a lot of the art works. I did a lot of programming, I did design, and I interacted with a lot of artists in my time when I was going through school and stuff like that for game programming. So I know some, like, you show me something and I'm like, okay, I bet I can assess of how they built this, how this works, and I can give you a rough estimate of how something works. Sound design, no idea. It's completely foreign to me. So, with this feedback in mind, we decided on focus on strengthening the excitement and impact of Halo's combat through improved audio. We established the concept just months after shipping Halo 5. Since then, our team has worked together to deliver on this goal. Cool, so this has been in plans for a long time. Overall, our approach to land this concept was delivering key combat sounds in a clear, impactful way. To achieve that, we reduced sound density dramatically in a natural way. Of course, it isn't really as simple as it sounds. As mentioned above, our audio contents and systems were designed to detail rich audio for 4 and 5. So this new direction pretty much is the opposite approach compared to our last two games. Build it from the ground up, which they probably did with the Slipspace engine. So, even though we knew it would be a tremendous amount of work, we decided to reestablish. Maybe I shouldn't be recording videos. God damn, I need this cough to go away. Almost from scratch as our first priority from the start of Infinite's development. It's tough on the long load. Incredibly proud of the amazing work across the team. Help realize our new vision. Audio devs, audio technical designers, sound designers, even our music team, and audio engineers. It's a whole thing. They just work on the systems, man. The people who make the tools that the developers use, it's a whole nother thing, man. That stuff's crazy. Those are some incredibly smart people who do that stuff. Each team's perspective to hit one single goal, which is cleaner and more impactful audio. Let's share one example. Our team did a try. There are many gun sounds in our game. Multiple enemies, teammates, and people are constantly fighting weapons. In our past Halo tasks, we handled each gunfire's listening audio volume purely by distance, so all gun sound volumes were exactly the same, if they're originating from the same distance. As a result, too many loud guns constantly overwhelming a player, which made it too difficult to detect the true position. Gun sound. So, hold up. And prioritize them in threat order to decide output volume. The new Infinite's audio system detects all gun sounds frame by frame. So what this is saying is basically, when you hear a sniper rifle, if you hear, let's say you're on the pit. The pit is a great example. And you are in spawn, and you hear sniper rifles coming from the other side of the map. and you just hear two people shooting at it. You can't really tell which one is which. You're just hearing shots and you're just kind of assuming who's shooting where. Maybe you get little bit of audio distance, but it's pretty much like there's a lot of BR shooting. There's a lot of those kind of things happening. That, again, if you're in a mash of people, once again on the pit, if you're a team of 3 going against a team of another 3, and those bullets are flying around, your teammates are shooting, those people are shooting, and everyone is shooting a different person, it's kind of hard to tell where's who and what's hitting you versus everyone else. Who's the immediate threat? Who's the one shooting you? Can be a little difficult. I mean, normally you would probably just have visual, but maybe you don't. So, cool. Yeah, the true threat position. So, more precision, right? So anyways, the new Infinite audio system detects all gun sounds frame by frame and prioritizes them in threat order to decide output sound volume for each gun. Once again, I have no idea how they did that. With this mechanic, if a gunshot is aimed at a player, the sound will be louder if it's not aimed at a player, or if it's a teammate's gunfire. The sound will still audibly be quieter. Then you could hear only the threat sounds clear. With cleaner audio feedback, players can ascertain the appropriate threat to make the right action quicker and more accurately, which results in more immersive and exciting combat experiences in Infinite. This is something I've talked about a lot when trying to teach people, how to get good, is target the immediate threat. Yeah, there's the guy running away from you who might be weak, but there's a dude who's now coming at you, gun trained at you, about to shoot you. What's better, getting that one kill and dying, or shooting out this other guy, letting the other guy get away, shooting out this other guy and winning that one fight where you still live? Because otherwise, if you kill the one guy and then you die, it's a 1-for-1. It's a neutral trade. Who cares? But if you kill the one guy who's the immediate threat, always go for the immediate threat. And so this will actually be better for it. That's cool. Yeah, so long story short, exactly that, Grey Wolf. Gunshots that are more of a threat will be louder. Or it's almost the opposite. Gunshots that are louder are probably more of a threat to you at the current moment. So, that's so interesting. Again, a lot of people probably have no idea what's going on here. That's why I says, like, this is going to be a more technical one. This might not be for everyone, but we'll try and get into it a little bit. So for Infinite, we really changed our approach. Can we talk about the content design approach? Okay. The main thing it resolved around is keeping the mix in mind. In previous games, our assets were relatively longer, incredibly compressed, and oversaturated. This, in turn, would cause other sounds to compete with each other and lead to very fatiguing experience over time. This solution to this is to be strict with overall dynamics with keeping the assets short and compact. Previously, assets would have a long decay time, which would be multiple amplitude as the initial start of sound that would carry on for too long, which would look like this. In a picture above, you can see the asset stays at the peak for too long. For Infinite now, a shorter duration, which it is at its peak loudest, which looks more like this. So this is, again, if you don't know how to read audio, pretty much when the audio goes up bigger on both sides, it's simply louder. It's peaking the audio. So when I talk really loud, my thing goes up farther because it would be bigger than if I talk really quietly. Then it's nice and quiet and short. And there's like a trickle off, kind of an echo effect or something along those lines is probably what this is right here. So, and literally anything that you see a little speck of is a sound of some sort. So yeah, so this is, I don't know what this is in, I would say think of it, I don't know what this is directly, but think of it as like a rocket launcher. A rocket launcher in Halo 5, you would hear like a whoosh, the back burner go off, and then the rocket shoot out, and you'd hear the gun go off, and then you'd hear the muzzle flash, and you would hear everything. This is now like, forget all that, rocket, that's it. Doesn't make it any less, you'll still hear the other stuff, but just when it's loudest, it's going to be shorter. So all this extra stuff might be all that other sound effect, which is probably, I don't know, we'll see, right? So I hope, can we hear any of this stuff? I'd really like to, do they have anything that we can hear? Oh. Oh shit. Okay. So, we'll get to that. As you can see in the figure above, the new approach has a dramatically shorter time in which it stays at peak amplitude. As I said, it has a sharp attack and decays quickly. Another comparison is the H5 BR versus the Infinite BR. So here's the H5 BR. Here's the Infinite BR. You ready? It's really loud. My apologies. It's going to be really loud. My apologies. Shit. I'm going to turn that. Let's turn it down just halfway so we can. All right, hear it again. But you hear that echo effect in the background, but dude, this sounds chunky. That feels like that feels more. I feel a lot of people will be appreciative of the Infinite. It sounds very much like a BR. I wish I could spam it. Can I loop? It's very sharp. Yeah. It's like the other one is very sharp. It's very quick and sounds precise. Yeah, this sounds very just sharp and kind of like eh. So, like it. I'm a fan. So, impacts are much shorter, which helps it bring in clear. So, this is exactly it. So, this is a good show of what you're seeing is that each burst, each bullet coming out makes this noise versus the BR, each bullet comes out makes this little sharpness. So, ting ting ting, like that. It's just literally that initial burst. But in Halo 5, it's got just kind of a. It's just. It almost sounds stacked together. You almost can't hear the burst between them. You can hear like it clicks, but it's very hard to tell the difference between each bullet coming out of the chamber. Whereas this one, it's very noticeable. And it's because of those waveforms. It's because they're so melded together that it's hard to tell. So it's much more noticeable. I'm a big fan. By not designing every sound to be over the top, it allows us to create bigger moments and more impactful experience. Along with having a better sense of dynamic range to our content, as Tajin mentioned, we are also very careful about the amount of detail we use in our given sound. As a designer, our first instinct is to make everything as shiny and epic as possible, which is great if it's played in isolation. But when heard with 50 to 100 plus sounds, which there's a lot of noise that goes on, it's crazy. I don't think people realize how much noise is actually going on in your game at any one point, especially in like multiplayer and stuff. It's completely, it will completely compromise the overall mix of the game. It's really forced the mentality that it's not about the individual parts, but when it comes together as a whole. Okay. Systems perspective, how do you achieve the goals? All right, technical time. This is probably stuff I'll be able to understand better. So excited for players to experience the new audio systems and technologies we developed for Infinite. We spent the past several years developing new systems across the game, many of them with the explicit goal of supporting Tajin's decision to prioritize clear, impactful, and satisfying combat, help create a more immersive experience. One of the most exciting is the custom-built acoustic simulation system developed exclusively for Infinite. Heyo, exclusive Infinite stuff. This is one of the first new systems we worked on for the game. There's more. Certainly the one that we spent the most time, most development time perfecting, tuning, and optimizing. This system simulates the way sound travels through the environment, reflecting off walls and filtering through doors and windows. Don't let 343 know I said anything. But this is the thing that they showed us like 3 years ago. I'm so excited for this. This is so cool. It uses obstruction and occultation and propagation, exactly as they say. I forgot about this one, but it's an occulatory system. So cool. So this is This is the audio system I'm the most excited for. Our acoustic systems use concepts like obstruction, occlusion, propagation, and reverberation to make sounds feel like they're in that space, whether it's in the next room over, behind a large boulder, or somewhere else altogether. The systems is a hybrid of voxelization with room and portal pathfinding to create more immersive and natural soundscape. In a room and portal system, sound travels from room to room through doorways, windows, and other portals. These pathways used to determine the shortest distance sound could travel to get from a room to a sound playing from to the room where the listener is located. We then calculate the angles and distance of the path. Oh my god, it's so technical. There's so much math involved in this stuff, it's crazy. And use to determine how much to filter the sound. Lastly, we project the sound out along the path between the listener and the closest portal to create a virtual position to simulate sound propagation. The virtual source of where the sound then plays from, so that it sounds like it's coming from the direction of that doorway rather than directly from the source itself. So here it is. So this is the source. This is the virtual source. Propagate path, the virtual path, and the direct path. So this is kind of the difference between is where the sound plays from, so it sounds like it's coming from the direction. Yeah. So here's how Halo used to work. Imagine once again Pit. Halo 3 Pit. When someone was in the sword room, okay? When someone was in sword room and they shot. So this is the person who's in sword room. This is you who is outside down below. You were down underneath the sniper nest, okay? Before, when you heard a shot, it would just go directly through that wall of the sniper room and out to you, okay? Now, Pit's a little bit of a bad one because the room is in the center of the room, so it's going to look a little, it's going to visualize might be a little weirdly. So, but now what audio does is, so as I said, in Halo 3, how it worked and all the other Halos, is when you heard a gunfire inside of a room, like the Pit, the sword room, it just went through the wall and you heard it. It was muffled, but you heard it and you're like, okay, there's a guy in sword room. Now this is one of those things that's going to actually make positioning harder, but more realistic in a way. Is that this is how we actually hear audio in real life. Is that the audio comes through here, it bounces off all these walls, and then there's a doorway. It goes through the doorway, and we hear it this directional. This is the way that, a lot of, ventriloquists, throwing your voice and stuff like that, is they basically have a way to make it sound like they're able to throw their voice to make it sound like it's coming from a different direction. That's actually what you do. You can simulate that, is like, go have somebody, I don't know, have somebody sit through like 3 doorways, close all the doors, and if you have like a room with a bathroom on the side of it, have someone sit in that bathroom, and then you go sit outside, and then talk. You're not going to hear them through the wall of the bathroom. You're going to hear it come out through the doorway. You're going to hear them through the doorway, not like through the wall. And that's exactly what's changed here. And that's what's so cool about this is way more realistic in a sense. You might be able to hear the muffled through the wall because it sounds weird. But because it bounces and then it comes out muffled, as well as the direct source because it comes out here and then it also bounces and then comes back out and sounds weird. But this is what you're actually hearing. So if you are now outside and then what happens is someone shoots a gun in that sword on Pit, it's going to go through that doorway of sword, come around the corner through the hallway, back outside and down the ramp. And it's not going like directly, it's just going out. But it's coming around and coming through that. So the sound you're going to be hearing, and as I said, this is why sword is a little weird because it is in the center. You're going to hear it coming from that direction, but you're not going to know directly where they are. They might be in that hallway leading to sword, or they might be in the room, the sword room itself. I mean, also they have that little air gap in the sword room that you could throw nades through. that kind of ruins it as well. So it's not the greatest example, but this is exactly what it is. Imagine pit again. Instead of that halfway, if you're on the other side of the wall from the halfway point, and somebody is on the more south side of the map, I guess, and then you're by rockets or something. Someone's by training and you're on rockets. So I hope that's the right call out. If you hear a shot, you're going to hear it come through those hallways and potentially around the other way. You're going to hear it come out of rockets. So you're like, oh, there might be a guy over there. But again, the way that they're going to do muffled sounds and stuff like that, it's going to sound like, okay, he's not directly around that corner, but he's somewhere in that area. So this is really cool. So this is a great picture. It's really simplistic. This is the shooter, but what you're actually going to hear is this. So you're going to look here. It's like, oh, is there somebody here? It's like, no, they're just somewhere in this room. Oh, fuck. I should. Okay, you know what? I'm not going to do the other video I had planned today because this is not working for me. So yeah, this is going to affect, I think some people are going to be a little upset with this because they're going to be like, this is going to be a system that takes a little while to get used to. This is a huge system. It's a big change. And this is revolutionary. Like I don't know many games that really have this kind of audio. I think there are games out there, but this is really impressive. And it's much more realistic, but it's also going to cause, I think, a lot of competitive people are going to be like, I can't tell where people are shooting from when they're around the walls and stuff because I just hear sound coming from the hallway and stuff. Like I can't pinpoint people's location by the fact that they threw a grenade across the map, you know? I can't tell that the guy down who spawned underneath sniper nest threw a grenade when I'm all the way in the spawn of the other side because I can't pinpoint the location because the sound's not going through the walls. No, you're not. So this is actually it's gonna be one of those that's gonna add another level of skill to it because you're gonna have to critically think about where people are. What are the most likely places that you hear a sound coming from somewhere? Where exactly do you think they actually are? So I know I've been talking about this for a while, but I'm really excited about this system. This is really cool. And trust me, for most people, I think people are going to love this. I think it's going to make the game seem much more immersive and much more realistic. So exciting as hell. Shortest path the sound can travel. It travels through the portal, orange, the hallway or doorway, get to cell A and B, which segments the path along those angles. The virtual source is where the listener hears the sound from, so it comes from the direction of the door, indicating the path the sound took to travel to the listener. So it came this way, but as it's propagated through here, so it's gonna. That's how you could tell. You're gonna hear a sound, but it's not gonna be like, oh, but the BR someone shot a BR right here, and I don't see them right here. It's like, well, no, you're going to be able to tell because the sound is going to be a little bit muffled and a little decayed because it came out from over here. Because you're hearing both the propagated path and the virtual path. So imagine you're hearing the echo of the gunshot and the gunshot itself at the same time. That's what's kind of going on here, is I believe, if my interpretation of this is correct. Which is cool. So you're going to be able to tell. You're going to hear a shot, and you're not going to be like, oh my god, he's right there. It's going to be like, okay, I heard it. He's somewhere around here. Because, once again, it's not just the sound itself. It's using that obstruction, using that propagation, and the reverberation. So you're getting all those combined to get a better sound. Now, this is crazy. But once we've determined the propagate pass from other rooms, we calculate pass around obstructions within the room, boxes, stuff like that. As part of the acoustic simulation, utilizes voxelization technology, which could be thought of like 3D pixels. These voxels uniform create a simple approximation of the environment. We can move efficiently along the path. So again, and you can see it's kind of outside. You can actually look at this box. Oops. Ugh, apologies. I really should not have made this video. you can see it's kind of sticking out because it's just an approximation. It's not a 1-to-1, but so if you're standing like behind the box, it's gonna come around the box like out here, not like right around the corner of the fuel tank, you know? So it's more, as I said, it's used for approximation than anything else. So you can see the Voxel debug in the following page, which illustrates the optimized version of the map sounds will travel through. So it just, it's not going to go through basically anything that is a red box. It's not going to go through that box necessarily. It might sort of just in a muffled way, but but it goes around it mostly. So we also use the propagate sound path to determine how much reverb to add to the sounds. In the segment of the propagate sound travel through the large room, it will apply a proportional larger reverb to that sound. Another segment travels through this small hallway, it will also apply a proportional narrower reverb to the sound. Creates a natural blend of multiple reverbs as the sound. So again, the sound traveling through a narrow hallway is going to sound different than a giant room. The echoes and stuff like that are going to change. So, damn it. One other way we're increasing spatial awareness in Infinite is through virtual surround sound. Halo Infinite will be the first Halo title to support VSS technologies, Dolby Atmos, Windows Sonic, and DTS Headphone X. These spatial technologies, most people I don't think know what it is. I would look it up if you're interested. I don't even know too much what they are, but allow us to make sounds feel like they're playing from behind you or above you. Well, there you go. It's just more directional audio. When you're only wearing stereo headphones, we create a custom setup for our in-game sounds so that you can clear separation between spatial and non-spatial content. This way, whether playing over headphones or surround system, you can clearly tell exactly where your enemies are when you're in combat. We've shared and shown Halo Infinite is the most expensive game yet. How does this factor into building and delivering audio in the game? Are there new challenges and considerations? One of the biggest challenges has been creating dynamic ambient soundscape across such an expansive environment. In past Halo games, we've had to manually place every ambient sound in the entire game. What? That's insanity. What? I did not know that. They manually place everything. So, I guess that makes sense. Is basically like when you hear the birds in the sky, it's not actually coming from the birds. There's just a point in space that all the noise is coming out of. But you're seeing a bunch of birds flying around. And that's why if you kill all the birds, the sound probably won't stop. You'll still hear them. Because it's just some ambient sound. I mean, that might not be. I mean, they can pre-program it so it turns off if all the birds are dead. But yeah, basically not following the birds. They've just placed an area of sound that that's weird. I didn't actually realize. I didn't know they had to manually do all that. That's crazy. Wouldn't be feasible for Infinite to be part of the graphics team to utilize the technology they built for populating the environment with visual decorators like grass, bushes, and flowers. We use this system to procedurally place hundreds of thousands of audio emitters. So I'm guessing every single one of these dots is an audio source. That's nuts. That's insane. And this is just a part of the world. Fuck, dude. Wizards, man. Color coordinated dots are actually wireframe spheres indicating the location of audio emitters. Oh my god, yeah. So every single one of these dots is an audio emitter. Nuts. All right, here we go. Here we go. This is what people have wanted. Brand new systems dynamic. This is going to be a long video. Each placement is an actual system combining a complex set of rules and logic that determine which sound plays how often and when. Variety of factors feed into the system, combining gameplay states, time of day, location tracking timers, all working together to bring the environment to life. This gives us the ability to create dynamic mix of ambient sounds that remains compelling and immersive. Ambient sounds you'll encounter inside the Forerunner interior of Zeta Halo. I'll just let this play while I drink water. It's him stepping. No, that's not. It's like a circuit or something. fantastic. That's sick. That is. Just close your eyes. Close your eyes and listen to it again. That's awesome. Really does sound Forerunner-y, Covenant-y, Alien-y. That's all you need to. Sounds awesome. I'm a fan. How does the team balance traditional iconic sounds, fans, and use of the dire desire to evolve? While starting on the redesign of the classic Halo item, we always start asking ourselves how this should be evolved. A lot of times we change content so it matches the direction and the overall sonic quality of the new assets we're creating. First thing we redesigning is listening to the original files and start dissecting it to try and find the essence of it. Cool. Over the years, we tried to absorb as much feedback from the community as possible, as their opinion matters greatly to us. It was this feedback that helped us decide to bring back all the original Master Chief shield sounds. Hey-oh! We got the original shield recharge effects and stuff like that. I'm a fan. There's a lot of inspiration from the original trilogy that we incorporate in some of our new designs. I think people will experience a strong dose of nostalgia when playing this game. It's awesome. Can you share your process with us creating a brand new, never before heard sound effect in Infinite? We've shown a new number of weapons. Concept of the skewer. We'll get to that. Because new weapon they're showing off. Nice knife. Just a literal knife attached to it. It's a big gun. When you think about it. Maybe it's a really small knife. Always begins to acquire a source. Okay, we're starting production. When starting new, we first sync with the sandbox designers to get an overview of the weapon. We usually get involved after there's a working prototype in game, and we have some concept of the art and design's final intent. While experiencing the prototype in game, we start envisioning how it should feel and sound. The design process always begins with acquiring your source. That's why we record a lot of pre-production so that we have a lot of source material to build and design assets with. We then palletize this source into different elements, explosions, electricity, and that's what you do is you have an item, you throw a sound on it, and you're like, does that sound right? No? Let's try a different one. And you're like, oh, that sounds pretty good. Well, let's see how we can tweak it to make it sound great. Chemical reactions mechanics. Usually we have a general idea of how it'll sound in our heads, and begin assembling the ingredients necessary to make the game come to life. Once we design something we feel good about, we will get it into the game to hear how it sounds in the context and iterate as needed. Once we are happy, we check it into the game and get more ears and have people play test and collect valuable feedback. Give a better picture of the process. Here's an example of a new banished weapon called the Skewer. This weapon is designed by Mike Leaning, one of the many talented sound designers who contributed to Halo Infinite. So, the Skewer. I would love to hear, what do people think? What do people think that this gun? This looks... Honestly, I can't tell what the size of the gun is, because this could be a massive blade or a small knife. So I can't tell if this is like a small gun or a big gun. But it doesn't look to have a clip. Like, there's no... Unless this is the clip. Which, again, that doesn't fit this. I'm pretty sure this is the clip. Oh. This right here? Oh, it's so beautiful. But it looks like a harpoon gun. That's what it looks like. It looks like a banished version of a harpoon gun. And I think that's what it is you'll either, like, load it in from the top here. Because this is a hinge. It, like, comes up. Maybe it comes out this way. I can't see the other side. But maybe it comes up or, like, out or something along that. But this is a hinge right here that looks like it pops up. So maybe you stick them in there. Or maybe it's like a musket. Maybe you pick it up and you have to shove the skewer down and you have to hit it, get the pipe and push it down there or something like that. And then who knows? That's I'm going with one of those two. I'm going to either load the spikes into here and then it kind of like shoves out and then it holds there, or you have to like do it like a musket. That's my guess. Is like, yeah, that little latch pops up. I think that makes sense. Latch pops up and maybe you stick it in. It looks like, is it like a one-shot gun? Maybe like 2 or 3 clip size. Maybe you could fit another like spike in there. I don't know. See, because I don't know if this is. I guess it depends on how far this is actually going inside the gun, because all we see is this little section here. So Maybe you could fit like 3 or 4 in there. I don't know. But yeah, it looks like a harpoon gun. So love to hear uh love to hear what people's thoughts are on it. So, oh, we get to hear the audio? Okay, for maybe we'll find out. Banished Weber, we establish some core principles. We think of the banished at first, they come to mind as brute. The word brute is savage and violent. So it makes sense that it's conveyed in the audio. It sound animalistic and visceral. The banished weaponry has a more primitive feel that some of the other factions. So this calls for something in a sense of organic matter in the content. It helps strong grounding. Mentioned primitive in our previous sentence, we're highly intelligent and use the knowledge to incorporate many advancements of technology in their equipment. So we bring in the interesting sci-fi elements. Cool. I think they already said there will be no dual wielding in Infinite. I think they've already said that. And go watch the Ask 343 video. I think they mentioned it in that, didn't they? Impact, punch about. Did I do a video on that? I don't think I did. I think I meant to. That's my bad. Foundation of the weapon fires. It gives an initial transient smack. Jesus. Sorry, loud noises. Jeez. Damn. Huh. Yeah, I mean, I don't honestly. I can't even tell. Like, sounds like if you stapled something. It sounds like if you took something and you stapled it really hard. That's almost what it sounds like. Oh, here you go, mech. Since the skewer fires a large spear, it really needs some strong mechanical elements, such as a thick metal clank and deep slides. So this is the mechanic. So that's the impact. Gotcha. Punch and body. Okay. Loud sounds in a second. What the hell? That sounds almost like a... It has that little clink in it, but it sounds... I don't know. It's like alien and mechanical at the same time. Reload, maybe? Sci-fi processes a synthetic layer to give it its unique alien feel. Okay. Alright. It's a thing, I guess. Oops. Tails, this gives a sense of the environment in which the gun is being fired. The reflections of the gunshot bouncing off the environment. We designed the unique tails for different environments so you could tell. Also really helps sell the power of the weapon for more alien weapons to incorporate. Okay. Loud noises. That sounds crazy. All those put together, the scout being powerful as slow fire rate deals a whole lot of damage. Ooh! Just an anti-vehicle, maybe? Stray away from the core design process I was describing earlier and really get over the top. Mike did a killer job nailing. Here goes all the layers played back together. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Wow. I did not see that at all. This is why I'm not an audio engineer. I did not see that at all working all in unison. Damn. Oh my god, that sounds... Dude, this thing's gonna hit like a truck. And that's good. I can tell. It's gonna... Dude, it's gonna nail something. I don't think it was a good joke because it's a spear, but it works. Oh, that's a big boy sound, man. That's gonna be sad. It is. You said it's gonna be satisfying when you hit someone with this. It's gonna hit like a truck, dude. I think it's supposed to be like an anti-vehicle or something. I could see that. That'd be cool. You could spear people to walls and stuff like that. It'd be gruesome. Hit a Spartan, they just get like pinned to the wall. Hit a Warthog with that, it just like pins it to the ground or something like that. That would be sick. Holds it in place for a little while. Sample track. Whoa. Hold on. Those design unique content for third-person or non-player version is derived from the player access, but not just a copy. The content is authored so that it's slightly less punch and detail, a bit snappier, in nice contrast against player version. For third-person content, we create close to mid. Interesting. I guess I don't know if they're going to have theater mode. Maybe it's for like theater mode, or I guess esports or something like that is more what I think. Sample track. All right, we'll come back to this because that seems like a fun thing to do at the end. So pinpoint any of these sounds. We'll do that at the end. So how does field recordings factor in the sound design you do? Most sounds in the game stem from various audio references from the real world. What's the most memorable field recording session you participate in? Pretty essential to work. We've seen that. We've seen all those, they go out and they just like blow shit up and stuff like that. Or they have, what's the pug's name? The pug that they have in the audio recording, make all the grunt noises and stuff like that. Seen some pretty weird things that they've done with the audio. Fresh collection of material that we can use at our disposal when crafting. This allows us to design more efficient and better knowledge of the material we're going with. A good array of variations, perspectives to work with. We set out on the project to record as many sounds as possible. Makes sense? The more you have, the more variety. Majority of recordings we always do is used out of context. We set out to record things we will use to be useful textures and components to build our sounds from. For sounds of the UNSC related, they're mostly all derived from real world. For things that don't exist in our world, we create it ourselves, and we do this by using sounds from our world. Once we take these real sounds out of context and combine them in other sounds and apply various processing techniques, we're able to shape and form into something new. I think it's beneficial to use real recordings for designing sci-fi sounds, as it helps create a connection to the listener, a form of sense of familiarity, but yet still sounding otherworldly. Makes sense. Incorporate a good amount of synthesis in our designs with a wide selection of modulated and soft synths. Favorite field recording? That's a tough one. I feel like most of the sessions always have a special place in my heart. Probably say my all-time favorite is the time Robbie Ellis and Elias, and I spent 2 weeks in Tasmania recording wildlife with a focus on Tasmanian devils? What? That's so sick! Bro, fly me out to Tasmania. I want to go hang out with some devils, bro. That's awesome. You're telling me he's like, all of them have a special place in my chart? He's like, yeah, I guess one that's cool is the one where he flew out to Tasmania to go listen to the wildlife and explore the nature. What? And that's just yeah, I guess that one. Come on, like, that's sick. Able to capture a vast variety of animals and a very impressive collection of devil vocals. Really cool to be up close to some animals that I've never seen or heard before. It's great meeting all the people. Preserve the native wildlife. Runner would be the desert recording explosions. I think we've seen these. This is the largest scale ever done. They do this in a lot for like Halo 4 and 5. I think we've seen videos for. So size is 80 mics behind the scenes, making infinite piano pounding. Okay. While subject recording, not too long ago, a friend of mine was needing to get rid of an old upright piano, so I gladly offered to take it off her hands. This was something I had been eager to do for some time, taking inspiration from the likes of John Cage's prepared audio piano while finding ways to interact with the instruments and various objects. This session allows us to really experiment with a lot of different tools, gain a wide palette of material. We used 11 microphones this day, and along with some contact mics and attached areas, having all different mics, made the piano made while we were torturing it. We started the day placing a large subwoofer on the surfaces to use as a resonator, sending signal sweeps through the speaker, and we record the vibrations through the piano itself. After that, we took the objects like bats, gloves, hammers, and rocks to its armor, revealing its inner workings. The violent act of the piano gave us some really nice beefy impacts, while some satisfying debris. Once we opened it up, we took some electric bows to the strings and made some interesting tonal sources. Next, we snapped the strings, then took out the Dremel and the ones that were made. Lastly, we busted out the dry ice and applied it to everything that we could possibly resonate, which yielded a large offering of singing. Dude, that's crazy. If you gave me a piano and was like, "Yo, make some crazy sounds like this with this," I would have none of these things would have crossed my mind. Nuts. All right, I'll let this play. I'm gonna munch on some food. Yo, that's sick. There's some crazy sounds in that. Like, there's some that I'm like, I already know what they're gonna use it for. I think this one? That immediately. You know that's gonna use for, like, literally snapping. Like, you're gonna be hanging on something, like some wire or something, it's gonna snap. And you're gonna, like, fall a bunch of feet down. That's exactly what it's gonna be used for. So there's some interesting... A lot of them sound like from a horror movie, man. It's crazy. There's a lot of these. Some of these are hilarious. But man, they messed this piano up. There's some really cool sound effects, though. It's awesome. Oh yeah, that one. Like those sound like they'll be used for like a vehicle, like a Banshee or something booting up, or a Phantom, like Pelican maybe taking off, something like that. So there's a lot of interesting things. That's really cool. That's cool stuff. So differences, similarities, multiplayer versus campaign. Focus on really emphasizing the combat sounds in multiplayer, help deliver more immersive gameplay. Also have some very cool new music direction in multiplayer, which Joe can surely speak to more in the future. People can enjoy it in many places, like searching matchmaking or intro and outro cutscenes. We're keeping the music minimal to the match itself to focus on clear, impactful combat audio. Of course, we don't forget that the fans' favorite Halo multiplayer announcer is in there as well, Jeff Steitzer. On the other hand, we're focusing more on supporting story elements and event sounds in campaign. We've improved combat sounds in campaign for sure, but we're cleaning up the audio mix a bit so that players can really enjoy the story elements such as voiceover and music. Makes sense. We're also trying to make each campaign event impactful, satisfying, and even surprising as we have many exciting design elements for actions such as defeating certain characters, destroying objects, or surprise enemy reinforcements showing up. For a campaign, we really want to deliver on the feeling that combat itself is much more exciting and really emphasize when special moments occur. So we saw this in personal favorite audio element in Halo Infinite and why. I'm always excited to walk around the world of Zeta. I feel something special, emotional for Halo there. The music, ambience, the art. I love the combat sounds. The clear audio helps grasp combat situations frame by frame and brings more enjoyment when I'm playing. That's a tough question. There's so much great content. Grapple shot sounds. That's the other thing I was thinking maybe the grapple shot sound was going to be, grapple shot breaking or something. Sounds that Robbie Elias created. What I like is that there's not overly designed. Oh, they'll probably use that for the wildlife. The Tasmanian Devils is the wildlife. The little. Oh my god. the little critters we saw in that gameplay trailer. Works well with the game mechanics. It sings nicely with the animations. I also like the new redacted sounds that Stefan Rutherford designed. I feel like the sound makes you want to use the weapon as it feels so powerful and fulfilling to use. Lastly, the new vehicle designed by Yomo Kangatha. I have no idea how to say that. I apologize. Kanjitha? Kanjeeth? I don't know. Did have the great upgrade of the experience. Especially love the new redacted. Why you gotta do this to us, man? I like the new skewer sound, man. That's sick. It's hard to pick. The crisp, clear, powerful sounds are satisfying. The voice acting and directing really brings a new story to life. The system design, care, and evolve. I can't say enough of how talented and passionate the 343 audio team is and what brings to Halo Infinite. Favorite audio element in the Halo Infinite has got to be the music. The music team has truly captured the core of it and has brought such an incredible feeling, wonder, mystery, heroism, excitement, emotional. The game. It's also the areas of the audio personally spending the least time working on. So I love that I get to experience the music with fresh ears, much like our players and fans will. Every time I play the game, I hear new, beautiful, inspiring music. Makes my job better every day. So, all right. As we release this fall, still planning for this fall. Forget all that rumors you heard about it being delayed again. Was the audio team primarily focused on the remaining months? I'm in charge of audio mixing, so I will be working towards the final mix while polishing content, addressing bugs with my team to deliver the best audio experience we can. Primarily focus on closing out all our remaining bugs and issues and optimizing the audio. Playing the game a whole lot, trying to find any bugs along. So it sounds like they're really in bug polishing phase, which a lot of the other teams are. I'm a fan of. It sounds like that seems like so far away, but dude, like bug squashing is a job that never ends. And so the fact that most of the content is done and they're not trying to overwork themselves by trying to add more and more and more until it's like, oh shit, we have to get this game out and we haven't put enough polish into it. This is good. This was a complaint that a lot of like Halo 5 is like, it just didn't feel polished and had a lot of issues. MCC had a big issue with this. So this is kind of nice to hear that a lot of the teams are kind of finishing up a lot of their major parts and working on kind of the minor things, bug fixing, and just working with the other teams and making sure it's great. Probably getting some community and some, QA feedback and stuff like that, and then redoing some stuff here and there. So balancing and things like that. I know it sounds like people like, just give me the game already. I get that, but I'm happy they're taking the time. So reworking certain sequences to improving our music systems and squashing bugs. So, which is one of the reasons they delayed it. I'm just saying why they're just now getting to the polish part. Man, I'm happy this game didn't release last year. Insights of the audio team's work. Before we depart, any final words? Thank you for reading this. I appreciate all the feedback you've shared over the years. I'm proud of what our team's achieved with 4 and 5. We're still learning and improving. I've seen our team's hard and passionate work over the years to deliver a better experience and something we hope players will appreciate. We're almost there. Truly look forward to sharing the exciting Halo Infinite audio experience when we launch this fall. Thank you so much for reading and listening. It's our pleasure and privilege to build these experiences for you, other other players are proudest and most treasured. Talking and interacting with our community, incredible community, whether it's PAX, HES, or some other venue. That might have been where we heard about this whole audio thing going on right here. When we heard about the whole audio thing going on right here. It might have been at a PAX. Okay. We'll get to that. I'm excited for that. Oh, okay. I've met some truly amazing people in the Halo community, equally passionate, and we're hoping to build a grateful. Thank you for letting us talk about some of the stuff we're doing in Infinite. It's truly an honor to be able to share with such an amazing community. This project has been a long and challenging road, but the excitement and support from you all has really helped in keeping us energized and further motivate. I really hope you all enjoy the experience this coming fall. We have been wanting to share more music with the community, and we can do so. We do have a few more things in works leading up to launch of fall. Multiplayer is one area where we push some things in a new direction. I hope we can chat more about that soon. In the meantime, we've released 3 tracks we shared last year for each of the composers. It's on Spotify. If you haven't listened to these, go to these. These are sick. They have released like 3 of the soundtrack songs. They're awesome. They're very reminiscent of Halo 1. They're great. They're kick-ass. So... But it sounds like they're building to one big multiplayer thing, by the way. We haven't heard anything of multiplayer yet, and I think that's on purpose. They're waiting to have a big multiplayer reveal. I think we're going to get, like, probably some trailer or something. We'll get something awesome. And you could just click this, I guess. Become. Thanks again for taking the time to Inside Infinite. I can't wait for the players' experience. Now now has become customary. Let's hear some... stories from the studio, which again, I think we end with another Joseph Staten little campaign story, and I'm excited. It gets me giddy every time. I love it. Each month we'll venture into 343 trenches, what they're working on, and more insights behind. So this is from Sam Hanshaw, the live producer. We all hear the wisdom in stepping back into the game perspective and peddled frequently. One of the gifts of flighting for the studio is the chance to step into the game and gain that perspective. In our day-to-day, we're each worrying about a dozen different issues that we're competing for our attention. But when a playtest begins for a few minutes, we're just worrying about 2 flags and controlling power weapons. Folks are getting a better sense of things coming together, and we're seeing teams coming together afterward to fix and mitigate the issues they themselves experience during play. We've also started putting our ears on in terms of feedback processes and analytics to better hone in on what needs to be done. All this said, we're getting closer and closer to public flighting! So I'll end the same way as I always do, reminding folks to sign for Halo Insider. Yes, I keep saying it. Do it if you want to play Infinite before everyone else. Potentially. It's not guaranteed. Sign up for Halo Infinite. Do it. You'll get to actually... You will potentially make an actual difference in the game. The public flighting is what betas used to be. Betas used to be they put a game out early. They're like, help us test servers, help us find some bugs really quick right before we release the game. Nowadays, betas are just, we released the game 3 weeks early. If you pre-order it, you can play it like a week early than everyone else. Sure, that's not a beta. That's just a pre-release or just early release. It's not like flighting is the new betas. You can actually make a difference in a game's production with this. This is how people the way I always explain it is, 343 has a team of QA testers, but 10 QA testers playing for 1 hour of time is an hour. If you get 100,000 people playing 1 hour, I could guarantee you they will already do more testing than what a lot of the studio has done in the entire life of building the game. If you do betas and flighting and stuff like that, there will be more playtime in the game in like a single day than the entire studio did in the entire life of building the game. It's so important, and with that means, again, like they can only test so much stuff. 10 people playing for an hour each can only test so many things each one. But when you get 1 million players playing something for an hour, that is 1 million opportunities for something to go wrong, which is a good thing. Because then you find it, you tell them, and they fix it before it becomes a problem in that full release. So please, Halo Insider, sign up, do it. You can make an actual difference in the game. As playtest lead, I'm privileged to spend a lot of time playing Halo Infinite with folks in the studio. We believe it's important for everyone working on the game to spend as much time playing as possible. It's a great way to unwind. We regularly invite our most competitive devs to join our pro team for a no-holds-barred reoccurring play test where they treat the match like we're post-launch and need to win like you need oxygen. I love that. This group plays several times a week at the end of the day. We regularly spend hours grinding out the sweatiest playtest games I've ever seen, and then follow that up by spending a couple more hours providing in-depth feedback on the most competitive elements on Infinite's multiplayer. It's incredibly inspiring to work with people who love the game so much. We're willing to follow up a workday of making Infinite with several additional hours of this kind of intense playtesting. Tobias Osterog, playtest lead. And then this one is from Alex Bean, multiplayer designer. I think he was in that. He was. No, we haven't heard from him yet. That's multiplayer. I was like, damn, why did I thought, yeah, never mind. This is who we heard of, Sam Hanshaw. He was. Did we hear from Sam last week? It was from last week, right? Did we hear about him? I don't know. I don't know who we've heard and who we haven't at this point. There's been a lot of names. Approaching my 5-year anniversary at 343 this summer, it's been a fortune to work on many aspects of Halo Infinite during the time, and yet, still not immune to the charms of working on a Halo game. This past month, I finished implementing the voiceover of the multiplayer announcer for the game's medal system. Sick! Designing brand new medals for Infinite has been a blast. However, a favorite moment is the feature selecting the vocal performances for multi-kills. I played each take and rearranged them continuously until I landed what I felt like the best order. And I'm sure Jeff Seitzer goes in, he's like, overkill. I'm sure he just gives a bunch, and I'm sure he does. I'm sure he has fun with it, and he's done it for so long now that I'm sure he does. And then he just lines up which one he thinks is the best in the best order. Each take and rearrange them continuously, knowing that the finalizing my choices was making a contribution to Halo's history. Overkill has been said many times in the franchise, but this time Halo Infinite's overkill. It was a small task, but it felt grandiose, given the franchise's legacy and my experience as a longtime fan. It's awesome. That's a really I love that. That's actually a really cool little snippet anecdote. I'm excited for players to experience their first double kill medal when they get their hands on Infinite. I'm thrilled for the community to see the new additions that we have in the store. There's been talk about using the grapple shot to hijack vehicles lately, and the announcer may have something to say about that. Sick. We've entered a favorite part of shipping. My favorite part of shipping any product. This is David Ellis, senior multiplayer designer. This guy is pretty legendary. The foundation of the entire game is here. It's now time that with each new build comes bundled with amazing polished pieces from across the teams working together in Infinite. Since we're working from home, I often have to double check my mic is set to mute so I don't dominate the chat with asides like, wow, I haven't heard redacted before. It's also so cool. This is so cool. Or OMG, I can't believe how the art team brought this to life. I've found building games like a roller coaster filled with the nerve-wracking hills and thrilling drops. With every passing day, I hear the clocka of Infinite coaster carrying on ever higher as we prepare to share these thrills with everyone else. I find myself smiling a lot these days. Oh, these are really nice. These are really uplifting, man. Something as, this is Andrew Witz, lead multiplayer system designer. Something that has got me excited is to see all the detailed work that this team has put into this game. I often scroll our community's channel to see an appreciation for something in Halo's game that may be small in scope of the franchise, but something they love nonetheless. I read these posts with enthusiasm because we've had those same conversations internally at 343. I guarantee you, anything you bring up to 343, they probably at least mentioned, but you never know. As a multiplayer, as I play multiplayer with coworkers and they discover some of the detail work, they show some love for it in chat. It warms my heart. I sincerely look forward to seeing the community's reaction to see what we are making over here and continuing to build from there. Outside the normal UI UX, and this is from Omar Yonaz, the senior visual designer. Outside the normal UI UX work we do to create rich menu and gameplay experiences, God, UI and UX is so important. We often get the chance to branch out and impact a variety of other areas across the game and beyond. one of those areas has really had a blast. I've really had a blast working on is the in-game branding for UNSC weapons, with the iconic designs for each UNSC weapons, as well as some yet to be revealed. Ooh. We made a conscious effort to ground them within the game's fiction, but without losing sight of the rich legacy they're a part of. Rather than just slap a bunch of random numbers and fonts on all the weapons, we've taken the time to mark up each, given its history and narrative, with detailed and unique sets of decals. Early in the process, I jokingly used the comparison of car manufacturers to their car models, each with a distinct look and feel, but all part of the larger umbrella of their manufacturer. This has actually turned out to be the process we use to brand these weapons with unique flavors, but still have an underlying thread that connects them to their respective manufacturer. I believe eagle-eyed players will appreciate the depths we've gone through to enhance decals of the already impressive firepower that we have in the game. Can't wait to see. This is something that's been true from the first Halo. I mean, you go in and you zoom in on the little magazine cases on the floor, and you can literally read the numbers that it says on it and stuff like that. This is something that they've done from the beginning. It's awesome that they've always done a stellar job, a phenomenal job with that. So, and if those stellar stories aren't enough, and they were pretty uplifting, we thought we'd go ahead and ask one more. Joseph Stanton, come on down. Halo Infinite's head of creative shows a memorable campaign moment below, which highlights the great work of the audio team and helps us bow on yet another insight. Put a bow on yet another. English is hard. I love these. This is my favorite part of like every blog post. It's just the little snips from Mr. Stanton himself. So we saw this last time. The Tale of Two Rockets. All right, let me get into character. With all the detail in this update, you might have missed Tajine's description of Infinite's new threat detection system. This system that now analyzes all active weapon sounds, frame by frame, and prioritizes them in threat order. This might sound like a small, subtle thing, but when you experience audio threat prioritization working in concert with all the other audio systems, it is incredible how much this new feature enhances your situational awareness and invigorates your sandbox choices. This is what I was saying. It's way more realistic, it's way more immersive, it's awesome. For example, earlier this week I was playing the game with a focus on rescuing scattered squads of Marines from their banished captors. After one triumphant jailbreak, 2 high-spirited Marines piled into my Warthog. We sped jauntily down a dirt road into a forested valley, just as the morning sun was peeking through Zeta Halo's shattered arch. On cue, a hopeful piece of music began to play, and no joke, some of the ring's alien birds started chirping in the passing out. Which, of course, was when all hell broke loose. "Heavy weapon fire incoming!" one of the Marines shouted. The rest of the world grew quiet, clearing the soundscape for a roar that erupted stereo right. The same roar that had been drilled into my brain's fear center since Halo CE. The Spanker! I recognized a split second before its familiar smoky contrail tore across the Warthog's hood and exploded against the tree to my left. And where there's one Spanker rocket, a second isn't far behind. I threw the Warthog in reverse, only to hear an unseen grunt yell, "Tossing flare!" followed by the signature lump in my throat. Electronic chirp of a plasma grenade as it stuck itself to the bumper of the hog. "Oh yeah," another grunt quipped. "The human's gonna die today!" Cursing under my breath, I leapt from the Warthog and sprinted into the trees, followed by the Marines, just as the grenade burst, totaling the Warthog. A moment later, Spanker rocket number 2 ripped a hole in the audio universe, and then thudded in the dirt and gravel at the edge of the tree line. As the debris scattered aground like rocky rain, a jackal crowed in the distance, "Run, human, run! Hide!" I'm gonna duct tape your beak shut, one of the Marines barked back. When I appreciate the Marine's plucky retort, I wanted to tell him, yeah, here's the thing. Without audio threat prior... Okay, hold on. Wanted to tell him, yeah, here's the thing. Without audio threat prioritization, you, me, and your buddy hiding that bush over there would have been cooked in a spanker field fireball and respawning back in, hopefully, alien birdland. But instead, I traded my sidekick pistol for his bulldog shotgun. We started moving stealthily through the trees to flank our banished ambushers to give them a taste of their own medicine. So, audio threat prioritization is awesome. And I also want to give a shout out to all the work the team has done writing and recording great dialogue. The examples of non-player character dialogue from the story above are just a small handful of thousands of lines of NPC dialogue that we've designed, inform, amuse, and celebrate and taunt you, sometimes in new, delightful, and devious ways. This reactive character-rich dialogue has always been a Halo hallmark and is sounding better than ever in Halo Infinite. I gotta listen to this. I gotta listen to it. That's the spanker. Where is it? Give me a sec. What? Bright spot of the week. Season already to reference a favorite child's book and describe the goals of new Halo Infinite's design feature. The monster at the end of this book, starring lovable furry. What am I looking at? Best Sesame Street. Gotcha. Okay. I see. He's taunting us. I get it. All right. So I'm not going to play this. This video has gone on way longer than it should have. I think it's almost 2 hours. So video has gone on way longer than it should. I'll leave it there. If you're interested, I definitely go play a little fun game. See if you can guess what sounds that this is, because that's exactly what it is. There's a sample track for Halo Infinite. See if you can go guess and line up what sounds go to what in the game. So, anyways, though, that is the Halo Inside for March of 2021. The blog post. We will be back for another one at the end, last Thursday of April. So I'll see you guys all in a month for this kind of content. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, do the whole like, subscribe. I don't care. Do that kind of thing. I know it's a lot. I know, as I said, I know these are long videos compared to you probably just read it, but hopefully I brought some light, maybe some interesting concepts. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I'm really excited. I personally, I think the thing I am most excited for is this, what do they call it? The acoustic system. The acoustic simulation system. I'm really excited for this. I think this is going to be, this alone will add so much immersion, so much depth, and so much realism to Halo Infinite that I think this is revolutionary to the game industry. I don't know if they're the first one to do something on the depth that they've done for this. I'm sure there's probably other games out there that have probably done something similar. But as a whole, the game industry doesn't do this kind of thing. So this is revolutionary. And I think this is so cool. And I'm really excited for this feature. The skewer looks sick. I want to hear what your thoughts are on the new weapon. Do you load it from the top or do you shove it in like a musket? Love to hear the thoughts. It's beefy. Do we think it's anti-tank, anti-personnel? What do we think it is? You know, will it pin things to the wall? Will you hit a warthog and it'll pin it to the ground for a few seconds? I don't know. I would love to hear thoughts on all this, what you guys think. I would love to hear what you guys are looking forward to the most so far. What do you like the most about these blog posts? And yeah, other than that, hope you guys enjoyed. You guys are all beautiful. You guys are all sexy. I love you all. Have a good one.